Give me a D and a G. It's the Dawg and Gus Show. It's the Dawg and Gus Show.
Hey, Dawg, your beard's looking flickin' great, my man.
Thanks, Gus. I've been using the Bush Beard Wash.
The what now?
At Bush Beard, they know that every man with a beard is a unique beardo. And that's why they offer a wide range of products to cater to every beard's needs. Whether you have a long and luscious mane or prefer to keep it short and sharp, their products will help you achieve that perfect look.
From the nourishing beard oil and balm to the refreshing beard wash, their products are made with all-natural local ingredients to keep that beard healthy, soft, and lustrous. The beard comb and brush are designed to detangle and shape your beard, making sure you always look your best.
At Bush Beard, they're dedicated to providing the best possible grooming experience for all the beardos out there. So why settle for an average beard when you can have a glorious, well-groomed one? Try Bush Beard products today and unleash the full potential of your beard.
Be sure to use Dawg and Gus 10 and get 10% off your order.
Bush Beard, the small-town brand with the big old Canadian heart.
Welcome to the Dawg and Gus Show. Now,
Soon to be on Be Kind Radio.
that's right.
What do we got going on, Dawg? Other than you being in the wind tunnel.
Yeah, sorry, man. It's a little windy here in Studio B. We got a returning customer tonight. We got DB Cohen going to join us and talk about a few things.
What's up, Dan? How are you?
Doing all right. I've been running around like a blue-ass fly this morning, but here we are. Solo cup in hand, ready to talk some bollocks to you lads. Thank you for having us back.
Happy to have you.
I saw some great footage recently of you guys at the CMA Awards, dropping in on some in and out people. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, it was awesome. We did a live from there and talked to a whole bunch of different guests. It was really a great event. I mean, they turned it up a bit, being at the NAC, and then the organizers were so amazing. They basically had a whole week, which was awesome. It was live music every night, and then they did the week show and live music after. It was really great, really nice.
Yeah. Gus doesn't know about that part, but
well, I know about it, but I wasn't there.
You didn't experience it like I did.
Everyone was dressed.
I went after the show, and Gus is like, "Are you going to go?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll go." So I went to the after party. I didn't get to home like 3:30 in the morning. They're partying with our amazingly talented people in this city.
Yeah, well, that's what you do at awards, isn't it? Get trolled at the after party, and make as long as people don't get any photos of you, start releasing them to the press after, you'll be all right.
Yeah, there's no photos of me. There's nothing embarrassing.
Yeah.
I'm not embarrassing the brand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is a bit embarrassing, but whatever.
Hey. Some, issues with the vehicle. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good, buddy. You're here.
You're
here now. You're here now.
All right.
So Dan, you're doing you've got a single coming out on July the 11th.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, and then also how excited are you to play Bluesfest?
Well, yeah, the single "Hide Into Nothing" is. It was recorded a bloody long time ago now, like 7-8 years when I was back in England. But it's a Scar Edge tune, lots of brass, and it's the third single off the new album that's going to be released. We're timing it alongside our appearance at Bluesfest on the 10th, so we're going to release it the day afterwards, and very excited to be playing Bluesfest. I'm a relatively new Ottawa resident, and when you come here, the pinnacle of being an Ottawa musician is to get on stage at Bluesfest, whatever stage it may be, and play in front of thousands of sun-soaked music lovers. So really they're giving us an hour, silly sods, and that an hour. I know
that's pretty darn good.
And we're on the River stage, 6:00, and there's 3 of us on that stage that afternoon, evening. You got ourselves. I think we're the first band on the whole festival. We go on, and then you got the Melbourne Ska Orchestra after us. thank God they're playing after us, because there's like 37 of them, and it's going to be quite the racket. It's going to be fantastic. Can't wait to hear them. And then you got Father John Misty's headlining that stage that night, and he's incredible. If you know anything about that chap,
I do. I love him.
That's the first night, right?
That's the first night, yeah.
So you're on the same night as Lainey Wilson.
That's right. She's the big headline. And then before Lainey, I'm very interested in seeing this band called the Red Clay Strays, who I knew nothing about.
Oh, they're awesome.
Just I've been following them. They've been doing sellout tours all around America, and here in Canada is part of their tour. The front man, 6'4", he looks like a young Johnny Cash, and he sings just as well. He writes all his own tunes, and it real like roots. I don't describe it really. Roots, country, pop. I mean, but just great songs, great band. Yeah, I'm hoping to pop over to the main stage and see them, because they've been, kicking up quite a stir in the music industry, those guys. So I'm really interested to see them.
So what, you're going to be able to play your set and then go check them out?
Yeah, basically just unload the rider in at the back there in the trailer, and then get over to the main stage, see them. I think they're on a bit later, about 8, 9. They've staggered it quite well, the organisers, so you don't miss it. You don't have to make deliberate choices. They've done it quite well, so that you can stagger between each stage. I'm hoping to like snare a few backstage and just say hello, because you listen to these people, and it's very inspiring to speak to them, see how they got to this stage, and whether you can maybe jump on their tour next year, and compare notes on songwriting and everything else. So I'll be chatting them all up backstage for sure.
No doubt. Yeah. I love that they did that, actually, because it used to be, I remember going a while back where you'd go to see someone, but there was other bands playing at the same time. It was just like you kind of wanted to catch I remember I was trying to catch the Wailers, which I'm a huge fan of them. And then the main stage was about to go on. So they finished that a little bit into the main stage going on. And like, you're kind of like torn, right? Like, so you're right. It's the way they have cohesively set it up. It's a better system, really.
Yeah. And you want to see these sets from the beginning, because, when you've got an hour, as often most artists do, that you tailor your sets so that it's always talk, like a W, big in, and then have a bit of a low in the middle, and then big out. You don't want to be arriving halfway through in the low and going, oh, these guys are terrible, let's go to the bar. You want to see the whole bit, like when you listen to an LP back in the day. You want to get the full journey, so you want to strap in and see the full hour. So they've done well.
Yeah, you don't want to come in late for sure. Now, did you is your playlist set for this for Bluesfest? You got it all figured out?
Yeah, it was quite the dilemma, to be honest with you, because you want to show off your repertoire of tunes, songs, but you don't know what's going to work well necessarily on a big stage. I've got a multi-genre set. There's some ska in there, there's some sort of blues in there, there's some folk, there's some stuff you wouldn't even know how to pigeonhole, but as long as you just hit them hard off the bat, and I've got 3 or 4 just straight out the gate that are gonna blow the doors off the first sort of 6 rows or so, and then you kind of get into your deep and meaningfuls in mid-set, which actually, according to my band who play Bluesfest, on the regular, they say they go down really well. People can unwind, sit back, and lots of full notes on the bass and chill out, and then big hard out. Some stompers, big high velocity brass tunes on the way out to kind of the big hurrah, at the end. So it does take some tailoring. I'll be rehearsing with the guys in there after this interview, and we'll be running the set pretty much for the first time as the full hour. And then we've got a show here the end of the week on Friday. I'm in Hummingbird Hall now, down on Greenbank Road. We'll be having a show here as a kind of dress rehearsal, so to speak, which will iron out some things, I'm sure. I'm fucking no cursing, excuse me. I'm very bad at the at the technological stuff, the sound stuff. So I've hired a guitar tech for the first time. So that's very exciting. Somebody that can pass guitars, you know, and get a grip on guitar tone, because yeah, not all songwriters have got a Scooby when it comes to guitar tone. So that's exciting, having somebody to actually, you know, make you sound good.
I love that I learned new versions of words. Scooby.
Scooby Doo, Clue.
Yeah. It's like you're in Barney, and then they're like Barney Rubble, trouble. You know.
And your trouble and strife will be your missus.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. They go on and on. They go on and on.
We could probably just do a whole show of like, can you just give us some English slang, please?
Rhyming.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's exciting for you, the guys. It must be really like obviously practicing and then playing it live and then getting into form just to get into the Bluesfest, because you do want to put on a good show just for yourself also, and for the people there, so they start following you and all that. So it's a big thing, right? It
is a big thing. It can be quite. I mean, unfortunate that the band are very experienced. They've been there, you know, done that. They've got the T-shirt, so they're telling me, you know, make sure you get me a Hammond. They got, you know, these guys are often, you know, they're using a Hammond, so they're using keyboards. So, you know, they've got all kinds of gear out there. Make sure you get me a Hammond, proper Hammond organ. It's the only time I get to play a Hammond. Or as a, how can I put it? It's not often you often because they pay you quite well as a local act, so it's nice. So you can bring in some more instrumentation. You can have, you know, a full brass section, whereas, you know, if you're playing the Dog and Duck or whatever, you know, you can only often do it a trio or as a 4-piece. So this way you can, you know, get the added members and, you know, try and perform it as the record is, which is every songwriter's, you know, they want to get it like the record is, you know, the live performance. So this is a chance to do it on the big stage, and you can have a run around. You've got more space, you know, and there's I don't know how many people there, but I reckon there's probably going to be between about 5,000 and 10,000 people watching that river stage. So it's squeaky bum time a couple of days before, but once you get on there, it's fine. And afterwards, you feel like $1 million, don't you? So that's why you do it, because it feels good to feel the fear, do it anyway. You know, it is a lot of pressure. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a big thing, as is any, you know, big festival appearance. You want to get it right, but you know, you've got to back yourself, believe in your songs, and you know, if you've got a decent band, they'll follow you. You know, even if it goes a little bit skew whiff, they'll make sure you don't look a fool. So you just got to put full trust in the band, rehearse. If you can herd the monkeys in at one room for long enough to rehearse, and just back yourself and enjoy it. Somebody said to me the other day, they don't book, you know, you the next year. They often, you know, even if you're good and you're doing it in the town, it'll be another 3-4 years before they get you back. So just enjoy it. You know, it's a big day, so just make the most of it. Enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a great attitude.
And just turn it up to 11 and draw everybody in for your show before they go see, or maybe they're there to check you out. You know what I mean? It's I've done that where I've gone to see the local acts over the bigger acts. So
we've been doing it. You know, we've been doing it proper for, you know, a good 3 years now, and you hope that, you know, the songs themselves. I just hope the songs speak for them. You know, speak for themselves. You get some great performers out there, you know, that play it note for note and are just absolutely, you know, flawless. But the songs are pony, or you don't feel there's any soul behind it, or the lyrics are just throwaway lyrics. You know, I've always been taught that just if the song's decent, you know, and you can add a brass section, you can bring in this guest. It's going to get better and better. But if the song itself ain't any good, then you know, you can't polish a turd, can you? So you've got to trust that. Yeah.
Well, I think also like being the first night is in the first act, people will be jacked up. Like they're going to be excited to be there. It's going to be a good vibe. I think you guys will crush it, and then that'll be a great way to start it off, right? And I think that having that in your back pocket as well. As nervous as you may be, but nervousness and excitement are usually the same feeling, right? So you just have to transfer it to being excited.
It keeps you awake. You know, I think we've been doing it long enough to know now that a certain amount of adrenaline, certain amount of alcohol can make for a really explosive performance. And there's no pressure as a support act. You know, recently did a show at House of Tar, was a really good rockabilly act that came through the Ray Gun Cowboys, and we were supporting them. You know, and our job was just to get people, you know, going the first half hour, and it's that can be just as satisfying, you know, and the pressure's off. You can just go out there, and you know, sometimes you upstage the main act, but I think in some ways, I know the bands like to do that, you know, go out there, put on a strong set, and go on, follow that up, you know.
That's right.
So
Yeah,
we'll be giving it some bollocks for sure.
Gus wouldn't know anything about that. He's not competitive at all.
Well, in your line of work, you know, it is, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, and from a young age, yeah, I've always been hyper competitive, even with my podcast. Dog gets kind of blown away with the fact that I'm always talking about how we're going to improve it, and you know, it's just,
it's his vision for sure.
It's passion.
With the Bluesfest, are there any perks like on that day? Do you get to go for free for the rest of the time, or is it just for the one night?
You know what, they look after you as a local. They really do. They give you, I think it's like a pass per day for your band, per band member. And then I think they give you another 8 passes for any day you want that you can either give away or take yourself. So which is lovely, you know, because you know, obviously they're reserving the big money for the big touring acts that are coming in, but yeah, that they are very good, and so I've heard they really look after you backstage. You know, they're very organised. I can't count how many bloody emails I've had about what food you want, what kind of beer. You know, you want some beer, you want beer, wine, seltzers, you want this, that. You know, they've got the staff in place to make sure that you're looked after, because it's a day out, isn't it? You know, if nothing else, it's a jolly.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. Whatever that means, but yeah. I'm just kidding. I get it. Is there another act that you're interested in seeing that's coming through?
Well, this is it. Like, so me and the Bird were, you know, trying to work out what days we want to go to. I mean, so many good acts going through. I know the Pixies are something I want to see what's left of them. You know, whether they've still got it. Who else you got? I know Turnstile will be off the charts. I'll be surprised if people don't jump on stage and dive off stage, and I think they'll be holding people back at the front. So that will be one for the moshers out there. Who else you got? I mean, you've got, as a blues, there's, you know, got Kingfish Ingram. You know Kingfish?
Yeah.
Big dude from, that's when I saw him in Montreal this year. Now that man is not a boy anymore, but he is the future of blues. So he's coming to town. I think he's like the last day or the second to last day. He's one to look out for. If you haven't seen him live,
it's Kingfisher, right? Like there's an R at the end.
It's called something Kingfish Ingram. Big black fella from down south. He sings. He's got a beautiful voice. He writes all his own tunes, and his guitar playing, holy moly, is something else. And it's not just 12-bar blues, you know, look at me, you know, it's all set up for the middle eight where he goes off. It's just soulful. I think he played as a trio in Montreal, and there are, you know, of course, all the great players are scrabbling to play with him now, so I'm sure he'll bring an incredible band with him. You got the Texas Horns will be down there. They'll be playing with everyone that'll have them. So I always like watching them. Yeah, this is Ottawa's music time, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah, it is, yeah.
Well, it's already started because we got Jazz Fest going on right now too.
That's right. Yep, Tony D will be there.
Tony D, the Roots. The Roots are there too.
Yes, maybe.
I think the Roots played last night.
Yeah, they did. Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty sure Mavis Staples is playing one of the.
Yeah, Mavis Staples is there. Winston
fan.
and his brother, the Marcellus brothers, are both back again. It's a pretty good. Like, I just live down the street, so if I sit on my front steps, I could probably hear it.
It's not a bad thing to do today, buddy.
Oh God! If I make it through this interview,
There's no aircon in Studio 2 there.
no,
No.
not in Studio B.
No.
Just got the wind beneath your wings there from the
That's
fan.
it.
Oh yeah.
And I can't turn the fan on because then I can't hear you guys. So
Well, he's going to turn it on periodically, like just to give his nuts a rest.
yeah.
Yeah, it's nice and climate controlled in here, but yeah, it's
We're good down here in the basement.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. What do you think of the like? I mean, I think we asked you this prior, but I'd love to hear your personal note since we've spoken about how the Ottawa scene looks to other areas, like in different countries. Are they aware of how Ottawa's grown and what their Bluesfest is and what's going on and how Ottawa's music scene is so vibrant in the summertime?
It is. I mean, from the other side of the pond, like Canada as a whole doesn't get the kudos it deserves. Having lived here, you see it, and I think I mentioned to you last time coming when I was due to come here. You know, musicians in London were like, "What are you doing? You know, you want to go to Toronto, go to Montreal, go anywhere but Ottawa. It's dead musically." And I stayed here for a little while, and I dug a bit, and I was like, no, it ain't. There's plenty of talent. There's plenty going on. It's just the powers that be, I think, basically neglected the fact that you need support systems for the venue. I've heard people talk about this a lot on your podcast. You know, help cut the red tape for the venues. You know, help promoters and management companies and labels, of which there are very few in this town, but are now coming, you know, actually get some of that lovely government money that's floating around in the city into organisations such as Oh Mike, which is, you know, relatively new. They're trying hard. You know, it's only been recently where they got this nightmare that you had on your show as well. I think equivalent cities population wise, you know, such as Winnipeg, Halifax, because they don't have the luxury of having, you know, corporations coming into the town and producing jobs and opportunities like that. They've had to rely on music, and they've really helped music venues. Whereas only recently here they've got, oh right, so it does bring tourists in, it does help our bottom line, it does produce, and you know, so it is worth backing, it is worth helping out, because you got to, if you can set the scene, then the scene will the other scene will flourish. But it's only been really, frankly, the last 5 years where they've got their arse into gear, from my point of view. But there are some beautiful organisations that I'm a part of as well. The Ottawa Blues Society. You know, I'm a board member there. I'm their artist liaison guy, trying to help. Again, opportunities for, you know, amateur and professional blues artists to get showcases and, you know, to help improve themselves, meet other industry people, and they've been going for years and years. But again, they need help. They can't do it all. You know, they're essentially a lot of, they're, you know, boomers, retirees running this, but their, you know, membership year on year is going up and up, and we're improving things and getting in touch with, you know, organisations such as CKCU. You know, the Cap City Blues is a relatively new program on a Thursday, 7 a.m. They rep all Ottawa local blues and give them a chance to be heard. You know, Jeff LaRocque at Thursday Special Blend has been fantastic with, you know, local blues guy. You know, so there are some great stewards of music in the town, and I'm just glad now that the higher ups can see the benefit of it and are, you know, helping out, because there wasn't much help 10 years ago, I don't think.
Yeah, it's true. After COVID, everything kind of took off a bit, which is great. Going to your creative, I'd just like to ask about your creative process a bit. So, like, what's the first thing that usually sparks a new song for you? Is it lyrics, melody, or something else?
Yeah, melody. Just you got to find yourself a nice quiet space without anyone. I often just get an Airbnb somewhere in the country, guitar, bottle of liquor, some weed, a pen and paper, lock yourself away with your phone, and just see what comes out. You know, see, you just don't know what's going to come out, and it will depend on what you've been listening to, the people you've been hanging out with, what kind of music you've been playing with them. You know, so it could be a reggae. Yeah, you just basically just get stoned with a guitar and see what comes out. But it will be a melody first. It'll be 3-4 chords that sound good. All right, record that, and then, you know, I'm very good at getting the melodic lines, and then sometimes you have to decipher later on, is that a bass line, is that a horn line, you know, is that and then eventually you'll get a somewhat structured song, and it'll all be like silly song, you know, yeah, your mum did about, you know, doobie, and then you'll go back and you'll find a nice theme for the song, and like your story, you'll then get into story mode, and then you'll find your little tagline for your story, you know, boy meets girl throws boy off cliff, kind of thing. That'll be your tagline, and then you'll go through those melodic ums and ahs, and then you'll start. That's the hard part, the graft of the lyrics, and telling the story, of this poor boy that got thrown off a cliff by
at his Airbnb.
In an Airbnb, and that way you don't know whether it's day or night. It's just you and a guitar and a pen and paper. I'm not very good at co-writing. It's a very not private thing, but
personal.
Yeah, I've been trying. Like, I had publishers back in, I've got a good publisher back in England. They put me in studios at their expense with other writers. But it's, but very often they'll go, well, we want the next Ed Sheeran song, and so that when the music supervisors come to us and say, we want this Ed Sheeran song, but we can't afford it. Do you have any songs that sound a bit like that Ed Sheeran song? So they plonk you in the studio, and with some fantastic instrumentalist, and write something a bit like that, which is
it's a piss off, really, right?
Yeah, AI can do that now. I mean, I'm sure, and it's probably good. There is good money in it if you can put up with writing to a brief. But some people like me are cathartic writers. They do it because they'd always do it, and it feels great when you've had a weekend away, you've got it out your system. It feels even better when you've managed to wrangle the musicians together, and it starts coming together, and you work on it, and and it feels even better when you work hard, get the money, get it recorded, and there it is on a record. And it feels even better when you're on Bluesfest, singing this song to 10,000 people, and it all started on the piss in a Wakefield Airbnb. The full arc.
It's an interesting arc. Yeah, that's I like that. I like that picture that you just painted.
It's always Wakefield. You end up. It's where all the weird and wonderfuls are, eh?
It's true. It's beautiful there, and expensive to live, but still, it used not to be. It used to be what, like you said, it was like. What's the valley in California, Dog, that all the writers used to live at? Some of them still do.
Oh, Laurel Canyon.
Laurel Canyon. There it is.
Laurel,
So that's like, Wakefield's Laurel Canyon.
One of it is, yeah. And
the Canadian version.
Well, the Quebec version. They're not Canadian.
But Mama Cass had a house, it'll go around and get pissed up, shag out.
That's right. Yeah. Everybody was there, getting stoned and fucking each other. Go on.
I'm going to go full circle here. You talked about his name's Chris Stone. Chris Stone, Kingfish Ingram.
Yeah.
He's playing on the Saturday nights with the Texas Horns and
is
J.W. Jones.
Ooh,
that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good show, and they're on the River Stage as well. That's the same night as Papa Roach and Daughtry.
Which is shit. I'm not interested in either.
I would rather go see. I'd rather go see the River Stage and watch those guys play for sure.
Yeah, and it would be earlier too, Dog. Maybe we could pull that off, and I can get out of there.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'm down.
But, let's go
DB's
see,
giving us
DB
his tickets.
first.
He didn't tell us, but DB's giving us his tickets.
I'm going to be.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah. Sorry,
Thanks,
Dog.
DB. It'll be an early birthday present for me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, beautiful.
Have you got any tickets? Have you bought any if I know you're not short of a few too, Bob, but I can quite happily give you some. If if there's a day you're going to go, you're going to want to see Kingfish now. You're not going to want to knock about. Well, you like your Ska, do you? Because the Melbourne Ska.
Yes. We'll watch.
Yep.
Gus and I will
No, you don't
enjoy
need to
everything.
do that.
We love everything.
We appreciate you, but we would like to go when you're there. Actually, that would be more fun. Then we can all enjoy it together. So how do you balance like raw emotion with structure when you're writing songs?
Well, sometimes you feel brave and you can be vulnerable. And they're the songs I'll be singing one of them songs. It's called Scratch Cards. It's probably the best song I ever wrote. But you don't think you're writing it about yourself when you write it. And then, a couple of years later, you go, well, wasn't that sounds familiar about the situation you was in. And I don't like singing it. I don't like singing it at all because it brings you back to those places that were 10, 15 years ago that, because it's often the bad times that create the most emotion, which builds up the most amount in you, which often when it's released in one of those weekend sessions can produce, the best songs. So you do have to be vulnerable, but as a reserved Brit, sometimes you cover it up and you make it a little bit like Dylan used to do. He'd lie through his teeth and like smoke and mirrors, like he was whinging about him falling off a motorbike or being born again, but he would cover it up really well with. So I do that. I do, but
was Knock Knock on Heaven, Knocking on Heaven's Door because of when he fell off his motorcycle?
I don't know what was he's done so many albums, isn't he? He did.
It's a lot.
I think with the song Sarah was obviously he had a wife called Sarah, and the wedding song. As a songwriter, you do write about, as you should do. Every great writer should write about what they know, and then it's real. It's on it. It's not made up. They're not throwaway lyrics. It's not, and people can relate to that. And I think that's very important. There's far too much glib, just words that rhyme for the sake of it. Red Hot Chili Peppers, for example, great melodies. What's he chatting about? I don't know. It sounds like his first draft of verse every time. Sit down, write a proper verse.
Yeah, especially with like a genius like John Frusciante playing guitar. Like he's just like one of the best guitar players. He's just very good. I mean, but I agree. It's
great bass player as well.
Oh yeah, Flea is there, and the drummer's good too. Chad's good too. But you're right. I really don't like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I've said that on here before because I don't really like Anthony Kiedis whatsoever. So it's hard for me to like them.
Charlie Chester vibes at the moment, and he's knocking about that 17-year-old girl. No,
it's fucking weird.
And he's got a dodgy tash as well. So that's two things. That's two strikes. Sorry, I digress. Well, we talk about raw emotion, weren't we?
Well, I'm emotional about that. Yeah.
You don't know what's going to come out, and that's the joy of it. And if you've got a really good record label, like I do, that back you as a songwriter, they will put out whatever you write as long as it's produced and they think they can flog it. They will. Like the first record I ever did was a 10-inch reggae, like a real. And then they did a dub remix with a guy in England called Wrong Tom, and then I came here, started knocking about with some rednecks, as you do, hanging around in dive bars, and then you end up in a camp around a table, and then you're playing bluegrass, and you want to start writing bluegrass shit, and you go to your label, can we put out some bluegrass? They're like, Dan, what on earth? How have you gone from reggae to bluegrass?
Yeah.
It sounds great. Let's do it. Okay, put it on your album.
It's great. Yeah, I love that. Dog, you got something over there?
I'm just trying not to faint. It is.
Why don't you hit the shower, bud?
Well, I'm not right now.
Why not? Could be interesting.
Because how do you feel about working with, like, I see your stuff's up on SoundCloud. How do you feel about all the socials that you have to, basically jump through hoops to get people to listen to to get the music out there?
I hate it with passion, frankly. But then I don't like performing. I get great joy in writing. and working with people on projects, and the studio is a great discipline. I've never been on tour, so in the old days you would tour an album. These days, you need. I remember the first time I got put in front of a music lawyer, a Polydor lady. She's like, first thing, how many? This was I don't know how many years ago. How many followers you got? How many this? I don't know. And that was the first question, before she even heard the bloody demo, and that seems to be the. But it is annoying when you can't get people out to your gigs, and and you're on the hook for these fantastic musicians, and you want to make sure they get fed. That's the only time it really bites you in the bottom, is when you want to get people out to shows so that you can feel that to and fro, and the energy level. It makes you play better when you've got a great rip roaring crowd, and it makes the whole evening. But it's just such a part of building a fan base now. And if you're a private person, privately, shouting about what you had for dinner and what you're drinking and this, I mean, we all live wonderful lives. But frankly, I don't give a rat's ass what you're doing with your Saturday night, because I'm too busy having fun and meeting lots of people and doing things I'm doing on Saturday night. What makes you think? Yeah. What makes you think that you need to know what I'm doing just because I write good songs? I think it's daft, but it's part of the game. So you do have to play the game to a certain extent. But it doesn't stop you. It doesn't stop you getting out and do. I think you have to prioritize what you want out of the whole pro. Is it the writing? Is it the say the fame and fortune, but the kind of the adulation, that the ego stroking bit, or is it the camaraderie of the band? I was listening to your guys' interview with the guys at Aurora Reef, who I think are really, really good.
Oh, they're so good. Yeah,
very refreshing. You love to hear reggae in the city played by. I actually share the trombonist James Arif, who's a trombone, tremendous talent. He got me into them, and listen to him and his journey and what he likes about the process. It's like, look at me, aren't I great? Aren't I? It's just boasting, isn't it? You know? And if you're already fulfilled and you're quite secure, like, what you need to boast about, Listen to the record, buy the record, come to the gig. But I suppose to get to that, you do have to take a good selfie, and
yeah. Well, it's funny you say that, because with social media, in my other job, I have a pretty good social media presence, but
you do. I watch you.
But I only make fun of myself.
Yes.
I don't because I hate all the realtors out there that are boasting or driving the Mercedes up to the house to do the house tour and all this shit. Like, I do house tours, but I don't introduce them. I let the house be the focal point, and then I'll do a video where I'm completely making fun of myself or the industry, which is actually getting more activity because it's real. And I know that I have to have a presence, but I also don't want my presence to be ego, right? And there's a lot of that in my industry. I mean, there's a lot of that in music too, but it's just interesting to me that when I get the feedback, like, why don't you do this? Like, talk about yourself or talk about it. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to just fuck around. Like, I thought that was what this is all about. And then when you get like subscribers that, you get 260,000 views, you can show that at a listing appointment, because you're not boasting. You're just saying, hey, I get you a lot of traction on this place because of this. But it's also a video of me making a grilled cheese. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like a fucking regular thing. So yeah, I get what you're saying. I think that the art is like, social media isn't an art. I think that artists are trying to create their art, whether it's music or poetry or, visual or whatever it is. And they're trying to put that out there, but they have to do this other part to get recognition, to get more money, to make, to basically, live off of it. So it's tough. It's really tough. I find it really hard, because it used to be you just have to sell hard copies, and if it was great, people bought it and you made money on it, and the record companies made a shit ton of money off of you, and that's that's how it was, right? So I get what you're saying, totally.
I run the social media here at Hummingbird Hall, and some of the biggest liked and commented on posts were always about the people that we hire a house band every Sunday at the Greenberg Blues Jam house band, and we do. This is Fred Sebastian. He's here. You can often see him drinking black coffee and sharing stories at the bar. He plays with Lyle Wodzik. There's a little piece about him, a little tongue-in-cheek bio. This is Fred, and that people are like, yeah, it's great. That because it was personal. It was about people. It wasn't
real.
about
It's real.
here's a poster. Come to our jam. It's great.
Yeah.
It was personal things. Oh, there's something in them. So I think maybe I and other artists should maybe focus on more the human aspect of it and be really honest. If you're happy to open the world to your, I noticed JW's done that recently as well, like talked about his insecurities and his, some of his licks, and just opened it up a bit more rather than here's another show, come to our show, or have you, more human, personal.
Well,
Yeah.
I find when artists do that, you're kind of taking a little of the mystery away, which is fine, because hey, that's a regular guy. Yeah, you know what? JW, he had car problems. Yeah, he does this. Hey, seems like a pretty cool guy. Yeah, I want to go see his show. His music's amazing. We know that. But he seems like a pretty cool dude. Let's go see his show. Smart.
Yeah, just real takes away the less boasty. Like, I don't like it when people do a show and then it might be in front of 500 people, and at the end they like turn it to the crowd. Like there's this new fad of taking a photo of yourself next to this great crowd. I don't know. I'm as you can probably tell, I'm a bit of a piss taker. I'm kind of scared what I would be like if I was really honest, and somebody gave me an iPhone and said, "Look, Dan, go and document your life and your things." I think it would probably annoy a lot of people. Probably turn off a lot of people. But those that some people say, like some of the great boxers and the fighters out there, people pay to watch them win. People also pay to watch them get their heads kicked in as well. So,
Sorry.
if you can just be of interest, I suppose it's better than just being, bland and boastful and nice. Get on. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that's inspired me now to have some real open door documentary style post in the future. So watch out for that.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, it's true though. Like, but it would also piss you off if you had to document yourself the whole time. It's like the Harry Truman show, like it's like, no, thank you. I'm not interested in that.
People don't want. I don't want to know about your. But I see what you do, Gus, as well. Like, it's very tongue in cheek, and you're working in a very sterile environment in your office. You can't rely on, guitars and like rock and roll kind of life. You're in an office.
Yeah.
Which is, and a printer and a laptop and a phone, which is you've got to operate. So you've got to think even harder about how you're going to make this, interesting. But it's well produced and it's fun. I always watch. It makes me giggle anyway. Something silly.
Appreciate that. Yeah. It's just for shits, right?
Don't build him up too much, because then he's going to want to start doing more with us.
More skits. Yeah,
we are, bro. Once you get out of the hot box there, we're gonna fire it up. So you have a new project coming in the fall. What part of that project are you most proud of, you think?
Just getting it out. I like so the new album, it's called On Target, has been released. Finally got a date. 12th of September, it will be coming out, and it is half of the songs were recorded back in England with a fantastic producer called Snowboy some 9 years ago. Some are recorded here with great producers like Eric Eggleston and some session players around here. It's a real melange of genres, styles, and songs from the last 10 years. So just to get it out, because you only get one chance to release it. You get one release date, which is a nonsense to release. It doesn't really matter, but the build up is so important. It's the one chance you get to have an excuse to talk to a radio station, have an excuse to promote yourself, have an excuse to do a certain showcase at a good venue because it's your album release. It's the build up, the campaign towards that imaginary date that is really important. 2 weeks after the release, it's kind of forgotten about. And so you have to really maximize that kind of time before. So it just felt right now with the band being so good as they are now, having a settled lineup. Bluesfest was a nice cherry on the cake, and yeah, now's the time. And now you can actually get out and play. We couldn't play however many, what was it, COVID times. Nobody knew whether they was going to be out and about making money. So just proud to finally put it all together. I've got another album lined up, ready to go. So I just want to get this bugger out, see what kind of reaction it's going to get, because you never know. You never know. You earmark certain songs and go, yeah, that'll be a winner, But it's sometimes the kind of the less singly ones, the kind of not album filler, but the ones that are
part of the story.
Yeah, they're the ones that sometimes do really well, and people go, shit, that's a great song,
Are you pressing any vinyl or anything like that?
I'll be, yeah.
Mint.
We get 500 or so.
Two right here.
Okay, yeah, good vinyl heads. That's what I like to hear. Yep, 12-inch.
Well, Dogs, look at the CDs behind him. He's got every type of hard copy you could ask for. Like those are CDs. Those aren't even his vinyl. He's gonna show. Look at.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he spent all his air conditioner money on his.
True story. Story.
Yeah.
Dan, I need to add it to this collection of all my local artists.
Nice.
Yeah, there's Dallas. Yep.
Yeah, Dallas and
Dallas is really kicking it, man. He's doing a great job.
Brass Camel, they're not local, but I mean,
good fun. You like the funk? Have you had
Angelina
Smellowship?
Hunter Trio, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Boom.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Have you had the drummer I work with, Andre Ferriton, incredible, can play it absolutely any genre. He's in a band called Smellowship.
Yes.
And they're an instrumental funk band. I think they supported Brass Camel when they came to the Rainbow, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, they've had an EP done really well.
Yeah, they played with our buddies, and now I'm going to forget their name. Oh, my God. Mecca Stank, yeah. Fellowship played with them, and they're just, I haven't seen them live yet, but I really, really want to get out to see them because I've heard really good things.
Yeah, Mark's a good lad. I remember chatting to him in the park during COVID lockdowns, doing shrooms in a park with him and some of his buddies, and he was like, how do you like get a band? Like, what do you, how do I get gigs? Like, hey, he didn't have a band, he didn't have nothing, he just had a few songs, and he has gone.
Just licking your lips, both of you, just licking those lips.
He just went for it, and he's done really well. He's got a great band. Which is the hardest thing, getting some good players to commit to your own original stuff. And he's obviously put a bit of money into it, and good
cool
luck.
Name too.
I like to see people doing it, going at it hard, all in. You've got to be brave to do that in this world. And full respect to anyone like Smellowship that are very organised. The leader there, or they got they're applying to all the festivals, they're pushing it, they're doing everything right, and they're getting the rewards. So it's great to see these Ottawa bands pushing.
Yeah, it's great. Honestly, that's what Dawg and I have noticed, even just doing our little show here. It's we're going to talk to Smellowship now because I'll probably message them,
because we're going to say that you told us to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and there's a load of them, and they're a lovely lot as well. They're a good lot. I've got a question for you. Who were some of your favourite, musically? I mean, not necessarily the live band, but who do you think's really at the forefront of the Ottawa music scene right now? Who are some of your favourites? In all honesty.
You go first.
Go
on. That's tough because I got a lot of faves for sure. We just saw Dallas at the Rainbow. He was fantastic. Mikhail Laxton, we love. Angelina Jones. I've seen her a couple times now. Fantastic. We're gonna get Angelique Francis on, and she's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I could go on and on and on. But those are some of the ones that I enjoy the most. I mean,
The
we've got
Commotions are
our
fun.
friends from Warren and his band are coming back for round 2. Very excited to see them this weekend on the
Taming
Saturday.
Sorry.
Taming Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're excellent. Christine St. Pierre is really excellent
Mhm.
too. I find obviously Dawg and I talk about her a lot because we loved her when we interviewed her, but Rebecca Noel and all of her
Oh my
little
gosh, yeah.
projects she does, she's so uber talented. I really like Aurora's Reef. I think that they're going to create a nice, cause they're busking now. So they're just young, and they're just, they're going to build into this, creating their own music, which they have a couple songs, but they add in a few different ones. There's like, just honestly, it changes a lot. Like my musical taste changes all the time. Like I just sort of weave in and out of old stuff and then come back to some of the new stuff. And but Dallas is definitely there. Dallas Alexander, he's more of a country guy, but he's just excellent and nice guy, and does a lot for the show. Jade from Toronto, she's a country artist too. But again, these guys are doing something that they love, and we respect it so much. So it's fun to watch them grow and then get some success. And obviously, you know, some of the local bands that we all hang out with. I don't know. Neon Ghost House is going to be good. Stoby, who I really like, but he'll never come on the show because she's too shy.
Sunday Riot Club.
So yeah, and Mecca of Stank. You know, the new hires I think are going to be a big band
The
too.
boy-
Like there,
Yeah.
There's a
The
ton,
boys
dude.
from
There's a
Winter
ton.
who are just
yeah,
fabulous individuals.
yeah. You know, East Coast Experience is fun. Like there's just, you know, it can go quite on for that.
Have you?
Right.
I mean,
Mhm,
she's a folk artist out of Wakefield. Mia Kelly. She's doing really well for herself right now.
Yeah, I've read
Mia
about
Kelly's
her actually.
amazing.
Yeah,
You know, come back
we have
from
to remember
England,
that one.
Yeah,
apparently
she's amazing.
When I saw her, she's obviously got herself some funding or something, and she's just got out. And you know, local girl of Wakefield, getting out there,
That's awesome.
traveling halfway across the world, showing off her wares. Respect.
Yeah, it's wonderful
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, it's growing, and it's
Yeah, like
it
we could
can't
go
make
on
us
and on
happier,
and on,
you know?
and we've probably missed a whole bunch of people we could have talked about for sure. And apologies if we missed anybody. We love everybody that we've talked to, and they're amazingly talented.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
just old and forget shit. And Dog's really hot right now. But if I may, I have a fun question for you.
She's far away.
Okay, so you just robbed a bank, and
Scotiabank.
yeah,
Fuck 'em.
fuck those guys. And you get in the car and you're driving off fast. What's the song? What's the song playing?
Heading on the highway.
Oh yeah, yeah. Is that Steppenwolf?
Yep.
Steppenwolf. There's a Wilson
Yeah,
Pickett
Born to
version.
be Wild, baby. Born to be Wild.
Wilson
There's
Pickett version?
There's a Wilson Pickett
Yes,
version.
Wilson Pickett. Yeah.
Just you know the big chorus. Born to be wild. He does it his own way, but it's got that Wilson kind of itchy, want to throw a chair across a bar kind of.
Yes.
You know, yeah, that would be full blast, windows down, banknotes coming out.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh,
That's a good
yeah.
answer. I love that.
What would be yours, lads? Come on, let's have a think.
Yeah, we switched it up every time I ask this question. Go ahead, Dog. You have a new one for me?
I'm going to go with my band, The Fix. One thing leads to another.
Oh, that's a good one.
Don't know that one. Have to check them out.
The Fix. FIXX. They're amazing. 80s band.
Yeah, they're British, aren't they?
Yep.
They're British band, yeah.
They are.
They're always with those Brits, those reserves Brits.
Yeah, they're really, yeah, exactly.
They've got nothing else to do but drink and write songs.
Well,
I'm gonna go
and
Do the Evolution by Pearl Jam.
Okay.
It's
Yeah, that'd be-
evolution, baby. And you're just fucking.
Yeah. And then what do you spend it on? That's the thing, you know. Like, what do you spend all that? hard-
Vinyl, obviously,
hard-
vinyl.
Yeah. Yeah, we get caught up in the vinyl.
I have to rob another bank. We also have asked you this question before too, but just because we have you alone, you might have had pressure last time. So
Yeah.
we talked two decades. It's always the same. It's the 80s and the 90s. What's your choice today?
It was nuts. It's the same. I mean, who survived? No, we had a bit of an argument about this last.
I know, that's why I brought it up again.
Well, you got second greatest band in the world making their comeback. I think it's this summer, isn't it? That made their million in England. Oasis, our kid, Liam and Noel came out the 90s. I don't know if you're a fan, but for every young Brit, 12, 13 when that first album came out. Yeah.
What's the story? Morning Glory.
Morning Glory, and it's basically what decade did you grow up through? Your early teens, your 15, 16, 17 when you were most obsessed by music. That's the decade, and as a man born when Margaret Thatcher came in 1979, that it was the 80s was a tough old. You had the specials come out in the 80s from where my Manor and Madness, and some the Jam, of course, and some great bands. And the Queen was still top of their game in the 80s. I just can't stand as a guitar player. There's too much synth and cocaine and big shoulder pads and dodgy fashion. At least the 90s was it was pretty much the best decade to be alive in. I think if you were in your team the 90s, everyone, apart from a few Iraqi wars, but it was a great time to be around in the 90s. But I don't know, maybe
Can I say I like Oasis, but I hate them?
What? No, have you? But he's a funny bastard, isn't
They're
he?
fucking assholes, both of them. I don't know.
Really? Is it the fact that they really rate themselves that really jars you? Is it the fact because it comes across as arrogance?
Why'd you say the second biggest album artists of all time? Why would you say that? Bands of all time. Who's number one? Beatles?
No.
Who's number one?
No. For me personally,
Yeah.
I think. Well, for me, Jimi Hendrix. I think he was
Okay.
He was. He was.
Led Zeppelin? You weren't down with them?
Yeah, because of their blues stuff. But since
Very blues oriented, really. Like if you look at who they liked when they were younger.
Was, but I like reading about how they all bitched about each other. Like Mick Jagger would slag off that one and the Who. But the Who, where I
don't
come
like the
from.
Who. See, I don't like the Who that much.
You don't like the Who, no?
Not that much. I like Eminence Front. That's like the one song that I fixed it before you're just gonna delay. But yeah, he got me.
It was more of a fashion. It was a fashion. It was a scene thing, wasn't it? The mod, but
yeah.
I mean, Led Zeppelin got massive, but the Stones are no. So 80s or 90s for sure.
Yes. Okay. Fair enough.
For sure, as you guys say.
For sure, bud.
For sure.
F apostrophe.
Yeah. For sure, bud. You gotta add a bud at the end, bud.
I've picked up so many Canadianisms, man. It's that's great. Yes, sir. It's my favorite one. Yes,
Scooby.
sir.
Scooby.
Yeah, we've picked up a few British interesting ones though. Again, going on Oasis though, just one last thing. So I absolutely love their music. I actually really enjoy their music, but they're just, I can't stand them. You know what I mean? They're just so, like the arrogance, even back then when they were, comparing themselves to Jesus and like this and that. It's like, don't get me wrong, they're very talented but everybody hates, like the whole band hates each other. It's like it's crazy.
You have to be that arrogant. And like you look at the great fight, like Chris Eubank and some of these fighters, even Muhammad Ali. Oh, what a pompous, arrogant. But you have to have that much self-belief to get on stage like Nebworth. What was it? 80, 90,000 people. If you're doubting yourself, you're not getting there, and you're certainly not going to hold an audience. Like you almost have to. But I think it was because they don't have a brain cell between them, so it's almost like it's a bit like that.
Did you just compare Oasis to Muhammad Ali?
No, but that self belief that comes across it. You have to have it. Otherwise, you're not
I
going to
get
reach
it.
that.
I understand the reference. I love that. That's
And-
actually a great reference, but I just wanted
And
to
Gus,
go there.
you're a Beatles fan, and John Lennon was quoted as being bigger than Jesus. So you're dissing Oasis for it, but yet the Beatles said it too.
I'm a George Harrison guy.
Yeah, he would.
Well, I don't understand the whole thing around Oasis. I don't get it.
That's because you're
Not
an
a fan.
80s guy. You're an 80s guy.
Well, I'm not a
90s
fan of Oasis at all.
But 90s for me was grunge era and like hip hop, like the hip hop in like you as a blues musician and whatnot. Like if you think of Tribe Called Quest, a lot of their music is jazz. It's like a lot of their beats come from jazz. And that's why the hip hop was so cool, because they just, I don't know, just to flow so nicely. It was just so well written. They didn't have to swear all the time. Like it's a very, like, look at Rakim. Rakim is one of the greatest of all time. He's from the 80s, though, dog. So, you know, I like him too. But he never swore. And people were like, how the hell is he so good without swearing? You know, like it was just an interesting thing. But
There you go.
It's a great argument. I love the fact you pose that question to most that come on here.
everyone gets
great.
it. Yeah.
Do they? Okay, it's good.
It's been the one question we've asked with every interview.
Every interview. Yeah. I don't know where it came from, actually. I think we just sort of popped it out once at the beginning, like in the first episode.
Yep.
And then Dawg and I sort of said we should ask everybody that. And then it just
And
sort
so, what did the majority say?
90s.
80s.
Oh,
90s.
90s.
90s. Just because.
90s is kicking my butt.
Yeah, ageism, because a lot of the people are born in 2000 that we're speaking to. So it's like, well, it's the closest that I was born, so we'll go with that. It's like you saying I was born in 1979, I was born in 1980. So it's like, yeah, the 90s were my years where I learned my own way, you know. So
You
And it was
became
pretty-
a man, as he says.
And it was a band-heavy decade as well. There was bands where it was probably the last proper hurrah of mainstream pop where bands, you know, the Blur, well, in England, Blur, Oasis, you know, the Stone Roses. These were like selling out big arenas. Nowadays, I don't know who would in England now.
Sheeran.
Bands.
No bands. Yeah, unfortunately. You're right. It's very true. It's a kind of a lead with a band behind them, right?
Yes, so-and-so featuring so-and-so featuring so-and-so that clambered on just to sell records for the other featured artist featuring.
That's right. Yeah.
Talk about.
Well, listen, we appreciate your time, buddy, and looking forward to seeing some of the live shows that you're going to have going on there. So have fun at Bluesfest. We'll probably talk to you before then, but have a great time. Enjoy yourself. Take it all in. And we look forward to, like, I can't wait to get some new vinyl. So that'll be exciting.
Yeah, well, I sent you the link for you to have a little preview, but on the vinyl it always sounds a bit better because a lot of those songs were recorded analog, so you get the full. Yeah, not just the binary dots and digits, but it's always a pleasure chatting to you, lads. And I must say, what you're doing for Ottawa local music, you know, it's not to be underestimated. I watch a lot of your stuff, and I love the fact there's somebody out there aggregating, talking to the people, and you know, bigging people up and actually doing it because there's not. I don't think there's anyone else there doing it like you guys. So good on you.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, we love it. We enjoy it a lot. Dawg likes it better in the studio here, but it's
Yes. Yeah, I'm hanging on.
no, but it's become a kind of fun thing for us. So we love it, and we love talking art with people that are very talented like yourself. So it really helps. Yeah, and you doing your thing with Hummingbird too. So you guys are helping the community as well.
We are. Our band program's going. This is our new thing, getting the young uns together and making bands and learning them up how to be bands. Learning them up. Make sure they
learning done.
Don't bash each other over the head with guitars like Liam and Noel used to do.
Oh God, yeah, but they're like Liverpool proper, right? They were like, are they Liverpool?
No, they're Man City.
Man City, yeah. So they they go to the pub. I love watching Liam do interviews where he's like, why would I go to the pub for one beer? You know, it's just like, he's such an asshole. But I liked him. At the time. Thanks, buddy. We appreciate you. Just stick with me for a minute here.
Okay, mate.
Dawg and Gus, Dawg and Gus, Dawg and Gus.